Today on airs and television, Mabusha, Abuja, Nigeria, and Khadija Oluwatoyin Amin. This episode focuses on the inauguration of the Council of the Nigerian Institute of Animal Science by the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Sadi Abdullahi. At the inauguration ceremony, the minister said the livestock industry in Nigeria has made tremendous progress in the last few years and contributes significantly to the nation's gross domestic product. He said livestock production across the value chain remains a formidable tool for industrialization of the economy as well as ensuring sustainable food and nutrition in the society. Senator Abdullahi also noted that the sector is important for industrialization of the economy and also ensuring sustainable food and nutrition. He added that livestock is important for poverty alleviation as well as improving the economy in general. Let's hear from him.
Privilege to be invited to perform the inauguration of the 6th Council of the Nigerian Institute of Animal Science, which is the regulatory agency of the Ministry on Animal Husbandry. Like we all know, the livestock industry in Nigeria has made tremendous progress in the last decades, and it has grown into an organized and highly productive industry that contributes significantly to our agricultural GDP. Livestock production across all the value chains remains a formidable tool for industrialization of our economy and ensuring sustainable food and nutrition security. Livestock are important for household economy and for the alleviation of poverty through sustainable income generation. The livestock sector is also one that can adequately engage our youth and thereby ensuring employment among this very critical population that constitutes up to 2/3 of our country's population, where we have an average prime age of 19 years. In recognition of the above, this administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR has committed to having programs that will ensure that the livestock production sector plays a critical role in our national economic development. The Nigerian Institute of Animal Science is a critical and important stakeholder that brings its regulatory activities to play in the sector to ensure standards are maintained by producers and other players that operate along the value chains. This will lead to increased market access of our livestock products and invariably, with the highest standards achieved, foreign exchange earnings for our country. In view of the above, the Ministry is positive that the Institute, through the guidance of its Council, will provide possible short-term and long-term solutions to build resilience and sustainability across the livestock value chain, focusing on processing, marketing, and product development. Let me add here that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is very, very committed to putting the livestock sector where it rightly belongs. And like you all know, I recall at the last council meeting before the break, he has directed the office of the Vice President, that the Vice President should take charge of that report that was submitted by Dr. Abdullahi Ganduji, the APC chairman of the largest party in Africa. And I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that a lot of work is ongoing, and shortly, very soon, we will be getting some reaction from the work done by the VP in furtherance of the transformation of the livestock sector. Ladies and gentlemen, this inauguration has come at a time when the government is definitely pooling all resources, including the livestock sector, to achieving food and nutrition security of the present administration, where we all know that we are critically challenged in terms of our food and nutrition situation. You also recall that the President has declared a state of emergency on food security. And because of that, we have been working since last year assiduously to see what can be done to reverse this negative trend. And to the glory of God, I'm sure as Nigerians, we are also aware of the downward trend in the prices of a lot of our staples, contrary to what some people want to say. Yes, some months back, we were dealing with high prices, but these prices have since turned the corner and they are coming down. The markets are there to see these things as they are. Now, let me also say that you can't be talking about food and nutrition security when you don't talk about animal protein. And the livestock sector has that enviable role of ensuring that our people have sufficient and adequate, wholesome animal protein to go along with their diet. Because you can't talk about food security even if it is food is available, is accessible, is affordable, and not in the right nutritional content. Yes. You are still food insecure.
Sure.
I therefore call on all participants and stakeholders at this event to see their participation as a call to national duty. So bring your experience and expertise to share in your function towards actualizing food and nutrition security, focusing on animal nutrition or animal protein as it is. On behalf of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, I will hereby call out the names of those who will be inaugurated today. We have a 29-member list, and please, we would like you to stand up to be recognized as we call you, so that it's on record. It is events like this that we should, the media should tell Nigerians, because we have the right expertise. The president of the 6th Council is Professor B.Y. Abubakar. The 1st Vice President is Chief S.K. Owofa. The 2nd Vice President, Professor A.O.K. Adesehinwa. And experts that are going to make this council come from different disciplines and specializations in the animal science, calling. Animal biotechnology, Professor U. Herbert. Livestock economics and marketing, Dr. D.T. Shahu. Livestock extension and information technology, Professor A.O. Iyolatunji. Grain and pasture science, Professor I.R. Mohammed. Animal genetics and breeding, Professor M.O. Momo. Dairy science, Professor Muawiyah Jibril. Poultry science, Pastor T.A. Adeoye. Beef production science, Professor D.U.I. Kala. Swine production science, Professor D.N. Onunko. Small production science, Professor M.A. Bamikole. Animal physiology and bioclimatology, Dr. O.A. Sokumbi. Livestock production and environment, Professor Mrs. Cordelia Ebenibe. The feed milling industry, represented by Professor O.A. Ogunwole. Livestock processing and preservation technology, Professor Elisha Jia. Agro-allied industries, Dr. T. Sigbeku. Civil society organization, Mrs. Mary I. Apple. Dean, Provost, Northwest Zone, Dr. Aliu Saadi. Dean Provost Southwest Zone, Dr. A.O. Owosibo. Director of Animal Husbandry Services, Mrs. Winnie, who is unavailably absent. Immediate past Acting President of NIAS, Mr. Felix Eneche. President of Animal Science Association of Nigeria, Raymond Isia Dinson. Immediate past Registrar of NIAS, Dr. G.O. Oyedeji. Chair, Board of Fellows of NIAS, Professor E.S. Bogoro. And the last but not least, Professor E.A. Iyai, Registrar, CEO of NIAS, and Secretary to Council. Please, can you give a round of applause to all these? So it is on this note that I have a singular honor and privilege to officially inaugurate this 29th member 6th Council of the Nigerian Institute of Animal Science to the glory of Almighty Allah and for the benefit of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Also speaking at the inauguration, the pioneer executive secretary of the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, Professor Baba Yusuf Abubakar, who serves as the president of the council, applauds the minister for the honor of inaugurating the council. He recalled the election in November 2023, which ushered in 29 elected statutory members of the 6th members council for a tenure of 3 years in line with the Commissions Act establishing the institute. He highlighted the work of the institute while also calling for support from the ministry in getting a permanent structure of the institute through the budgetary allocation of the year 2025. Let's take a listen.
Begin by expressing our profound gratitude to the Honorable Minister for accepting to personally inaugurate this year's 6th Council despite his usual very busy schedule. This has demonstrated his level of commitment and support for the activities of NIAS since he assumed office in August 2023. We are indeed very highly honored by this gesture. Our annual general meeting of November last year ushered in 29 elected and statutory members of the 6th Council for a tenure of 3 years, in line with the provisions of the Act establishing the Institute. Although NIAS has existed for just about a decade and a half, the organization's impact and presence is being felt in virtually all the states, cutting across governments, industry, and academia. Currently, the Institute has established 18 state and zonal offices. We appreciate the hard work, passion, and dedication of our founding elders, the teaming members of NIAS, for all the efforts they have put over the years in making sure that NIAS progresses. As the Honorable Minister is aware, NIAS is more than a regulatory body, as it is also heavily involved in the implementation of federal government policies and entrepreneurship development in animal husbandry, as enshrined in its Principal Act of 2007 and as amended in 2015. In conjunction with the Department of Animal Husbandry, there are a number of programs of the ministry that NIAS have been involved in. This is in consonance with the goals and objectives of our current strategic plan, 2022-2026. Suffice it to say that the huge asset of NIAS membership, as we have seen today, provides a collection of the requisite technical expertise in virtually all disciplines of animal husbandry to effectively facilitate the implementation of these programs. Included also is the recent initiative of the reform of the livestock industry, which the Honorable Minister has mentioned. We believe that the institutes have a very critical role to play in this regard. And while we await the establishment of the Presidential Committee to guide the reform as approved by His Excellency the President, we will continue to work closely with the Director, Department of Animal Husbandry Services, in order to achieve the goals of the renewed hope agenda of the federal government with respect to food and nutrition security. For the benefit of our members, I just want to restate that there were 4 ministerial action points assigned to the Institute for quick action in October last year. Exploration of alternative options for addressing challenges associated with rising cost of livestock feeds. Number 2, intensifying collaboration with relevant departments of the ministry. Effective deployment of the Institute's regulatory function, and then submission of a report to the ministry in terms of the progress on this. I want to assure the Honourable Minister that we are working expeditiously to deliver on these action points, particularly the ones that have to do with our regulatory function. Over the years, Honourable Minister, the Institute has been innovative and proactive in pursuit of its functions as provided in the Act. It is in this regard that we initiated the establishment of NIA's commodity-based innovation and training centers across the geopolitical zones. The first phase of implementation will involve one of the stations, which is in Kano, and also the poultry station, which is in Oyo. In Kano, there is an edifice that was donated to NIAS by His Excellency the Deputy Senate President, and we hope it will be commissioned soon. It is noteworthy too that a key challenge to the breeding and release of new livestock breeds and strains has been the lack of adequate facilities for multi-locational performance testing, unlike in crop breeding. We are hoping that these innovation centers will serve that purpose, at least temporarily, particularly for poultry and micro livestock that have shorter generation intervals. I also wish to inform the Honourable Minister that a very strong delegation of animal scientists attended this 8th All-Africa Conference on Animal Agriculture held in Botswana last year, September. A key outcome was that Nigeria won the bid to host the 9th edition of the conference in Abuja in 2025. We strongly count on the support of the Honourable Minister for us to be able to deliver a memorable and most exciting international conference. Already preparations have started towards that. Honourable Minister, it is almost a decade since the NIAS Act was amended. Our profession is very dynamic, and we must ensure a sustainable animal husbandry subsector that can contribute significantly to agricultural GDP. Hence, it is imperative that we bring our animal husbandry into the global space by adopting the best global practices. This is with a view to increase revenue generation and deployment of livestock production for employment and sustainability of livelihood. Consequently, in order to strengthen our regulatory functions, there is an urgent need for a review and further amendment of the NIAS Act. Hopefully, we intend to initiate action this year by engaging with the National Assembly. On a final note, Honourable Minister, I wish to draw the attention to you of the state of our headquarters building here in Abuja at Kabusa. For the past 6 years, we have been unable to construct the main administrative building due to budget constraints and have been operating under stressful conditions from an annex building in the compound. All the necessary architectural and structural engineering drawings and bill of quantities have been produced. in 2023, the FCDA approved the redesigned plan of the headquarters building. We therefore would be highly grateful if the Honorable Minister would kindly consider assisting the Institute in this regard through a budgetary allocation for this item in the forthcoming 2025 budget. On behalf of my colleagues on the new council, I extend our deepest appreciation to the Honorable Minister for graciously, formally inaugurating the 6th Council today. We assure you of our full commitment in supporting the government towards achieving national food and nutrition security. Thank you very much.
The Minister ever called on the Council as a critical stakeholder to bring its regulatory prowess to the forefront while maintaining the highest standards, increasing market access for Nigerian livestock products and potentially boosting foreign exchange earnings for the country.
When we came on board, myself and my brother colleague, the single Senator Agric, who is out of the country for another very critical engagement, we have listened to all the various departments and agencies, and it was very obvious that many of our laws are out of tune with the current reality in the sector. And you will realize that you were talking about contributing revenue, having entrepreneurs in the sector, and all these things we're talking about, which is talking about business. And we have spelled it out in the National Agricultural Innovation and Technology Policy of the Ministry that agriculture must be seen as a business. Now, if agriculture must be seen as a business, then what you ask is who will be the businessmen and women in agriculture? What would they want to see? Obviously, business people are interested in a regulatory, legal framework that is certain, that they can rely on, that protects them, and that gives them all the opportunity to strive. So the ministry has realized that, and that is why in our budget this year, we are exploring what we call the ease of doing agriculture and food security. And of course, when you say agriculture, you are talking about crop, livestock, fisheries, and the like. So I want you to also take note of that, so that at the end of the day, what we want to see is what are those things that makes operation by businesses easy. I guess the ease of doing business that was talked about is all universal, but in agriculture it is peculiar. And so we must sieve out our peculiarity and bring out our peculiarity and sing our song ourselves. So that is why we said we want to look at the ease of doing agriculture. What are those things that constrain agricultural operation? So I'm sure in the course of time, AMSEC is here, we're going to activate that particular project very soon. And we'll be calling on all of you to bring your ideas, and together let us tell ourselves these are the areas that are constraining. And where NIAS is the constraint, NIAS should tell itself that okay, we'll remove that constraint. Because when you say government, who is government? We are government, isn't it? So, but what is important is that we'll be able to identify those areas. So that is one. Then two, we also realize that the ministry is just fortunate to have two distinguished senators at the helm of affairs. So what better time do we have to review all laws in the agricultural sector? And I think it is part of what we have brought out as our focal areas last year when we spoke to the world, sometimes in October, I guess, that this is what we intend to do over the next couple of years. So all agencies that have laws, including laws that do not exist that we think are necessary, we are going to bring it on board so that we will take a look at it and do the needful. And I want to believe, by the special grace of God, Distinguished Senator Agric and my humble self have given our due in our sojourn in the National Assembly, and we enjoy the confidence of our colleagues, just like we enjoy the confidence of President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, in giving us this responsibility. So we'll do all we can to make sure that we get all these reviews in no time. But what we want to say now that you are mentioning is you are getting an expo already. Go ahead and look at the areas of review.
Yes.
Please don't make it cumbersome.
Right.
No perfect law.
Yes.
I was there for 8 years and I can tell you for a fact, no perfect law. Just make laws to serve us. We are not to serve law. Law is to serve us. So do the best you can, bring out those key elements you think needs to be reviewed, and that's all. And remove the individual in doing that. Don't personal. Don't put yourself in the law. Put Nigeria in the law and put our citizens in the law. Okay? When you see laws not getting attention, it is because individuals are inside the law. So it has been personalized. Okay? So you will see us, when you see the chamber full, it means somebody has put inside the law and then we say, no, that will not happen. But if it is Nigeria, honestly speaking, you see seamlessly it has passed. So we need to put Nigeria in the law. We need to put the entrepreneurs and businessmen in the sector that we want to see their interests. We need to put it in the law. And I want to assure you, we should be able to get that done by next year, inshallah. That's our target.
With the inauguration, it is expected that the livestock industry wears a new look with benefits accruing to the nation. And that's where we draw the curtain on the program this week. Please join us again for another educating episode next week. I am Khadija Oluwatoyami. Thank you for joining.